If you ever want to know who someone really is, buy them a gift you're sure they'll love and watch what happens when they open it. I found out my wife was cheating on me because of a necklace. Not the one I gave her. That one she barely glanced at before offering the kind of smile you give a stranger who holds the elevator door. No, it was the necklace she was already wearing. Gold. Delicate. Definitely not something I picked out. Is that new? I asked, careful, casual, the way a man asks when he already knows the answer. Tessa's hand shot to her throat like I'd yelled fire. This? Oh, it's just something I found in my old jewelry box. You know, cleaning out the closet. We've been married 8 years. I could smell a lie faster than a gas leak by now. But I didn't argue. I just nodded, the same way you nod when a dentist tells you a root canal won't hurt. Dinner continued. Wine, risotto, small talk about her job and the neighbor's new dog. But that necklace burned through every word she said. She used to hate gold. I think you're distracted, she said, tilting her head with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I'm not distracted, I replied. I'm just listening closely. She laughed too loudly and turned the conversation to her upcoming work retreat. 3 days. Out of state. All women, of course. That was the night I started digging. 2 days later, while she was networking, I found the receipt. Boutique hotel, not the company's usual Marriott deal. A room for 2. A spa package. A note on the reservation, our plus T, celebrating our escape. I didn't rage. I didn't throw anything. I just sat in the kitchen and let the light from the fridge wash over me while the eggs I wasn't going to cook started sweating on the counter. When she got home, she kissed me on the cheek and asked if I could pick up oat milk. I stared at her ring and wondered how many other men she'd kissed that way before asking them to do chores. You okay? She asked, frowning like I was the one acting strange. Just thinking about anniversaries, I said, walking away before she could read my face. That was the beginning. The middle? We're getting there. The end? Let's just say, not everyone walks away from betrayal with clean hands. The thing about betrayal is it never shouts. It whispers, hides in hotel receipts and new perfume, slips into the way someone starts turning their phone face down on the table. The night after I found the receipt, I did something I'd always promised myself I wouldn't do. I looked through her phone. Not unlocked it. She'd changed her passcode months ago. But I watched her type it in when she thought I was asleep. 0412. Her sister's birthday. That stung more than I expected. So, once she left for Pilates, I tried it. And just like that, the door opened. Text messages. Calendar entries. Photos backed up to the cloud. His name was Rory. I remembered him. Her friend from the local nonprofit committee. The one she always said was married, like me, so it was harmless. Harmless doesn't book hotel rooms and leave shirtless mirror selfies labeled, "Miss you already." I stared at the photo. Not because I cared what Rory looked like, but because I needed to see what made her look so happy. And there it was, her smile. Not the one she wore around me like a face mask. This one was alive. Bright. Real. I didn't feel jealous. I felt erased. That night, I didn't confront her. I cooked dinner like always, kissed her forehead like always, and made a second copy of the keys to our storage unit. The one she never touched. The one that now held a growing collection of things she didn't know were gone. Her second phone charger. A framed photo from our honeymoon. The wine glass she used every night while texting Rory under the table. She didn't notice. Not that night. Not the next. Not the one after. She was too busy humming in the bathroom and telling stories about her co-worker's divorce like it was a reality show. But I was listening. And I was building something. Not rage. Not revenge. Not yet. Just clarity. Just proof. And soon, when I had enough of both, I'd make sure she knew exactly who she underestimated. It wasn't the texts, or the phone logs, or the conveniently vague late meetings. It was a photo. Just one. I didn't find it in her messages. I found it on her sister's Instagram story, already expired, but not before someone saved it and sent it to me. It was a candid shot. Tessa, in a low-cut red dress I'd never seen before, laughing into Rory's shoulder at what looked like an engagement party. Her head thrown back, his arm around her waist. The kind of pose you reserve for people who belong to each other. And the caption? She said yes. The message hit like a piano dropped from a high floor. Tessa was still married to me. She wore my ring when she left for that trip. My name was still on our mailbox, still on her driver's license, still on the Netflix account she logged into from her hotel. But she was out there saying yes to another man. And the worst part? She didn't even try to hide it. No burner phone. No fake name. Just confidence. Arrogance. Like she knew I'd never do anything. Like she thought I was the wallpaper she could cheat around, not a man who sees everything. That night, I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I sat on the porch, barefoot in the cold, holding that photo on my phone until the battery died. I watched the neighbor's porch light flicker like it was trying to tell me something. You're not crazy, maybe. She's not coming back, maybe. Or maybe it's time. By morning, I'd made a list. Not of things to take. Not of things to say. A list of lines I wouldn't let her cross again. And at the bottom of that list, in shaky handwriting, she said yes. So I say no. I didn't leave in a storm. I left like a draft, quiet, creeping, inevitable. It started with the chair. The one I always sat in to read, to think, to listen while she vented about office drama and overpriced wine tastings. One day, I simply moved it into the garage. She didn't notice. Next, it was my favorite hoodie. Then the razor from the bathroom, the books from my nightstand, the framed photo from our trip to Maine, gone, one by one, like I was peeling myself off the walls of a house I no longer lived in. By the time I moved my clothes to the storage unit, I wasn't even sure if I existed here anymore. I'd become a background character in her love story with someone else. Her live-in placeholder. And placeholders don't argue. They vanish. It was Thursday when she walked in late again. No apology, no excuse. Just a vague, long day, and a kiss on the cheek that felt like it missed on purpose. I nodded. Dinner's in the fridge. She didn't even ask what it was. That night, I lay awake in the guest room, my room now, apparently listening to her hum in the shower. A new song. Something light and romantic. Something she never played when we were good. And I realized something strange. She was happy. Not pretend happy. Not Facebook-filtered happy. She was living her best second life, just not with me. And if that sounds bitter, it's not. It's factual. Like reading the weather report, cloudy, with a 100% chance of emotional abandonment. So I stopped being bitter. I started being strategic. The next morning, she left early. Claimed she had a brunch meeting. I knew what that meant. Mimosas with Rory in some overpriced cafe where she could laugh freely and pretend she wasn't wearing someone else's vows. I used the time. First, I called the bank. Opened a separate account. Transferred half. Fair's fair. Even in betrayal. Then I printed every receipt. Hotel stays. Restaurant bills. One particularly stupid Venmo caption. For the best weekend ever, Red Heart. That one almost made me laugh. After that, I called Bruce. Old friend. Owed me a favor. He ran a print shop out of state and agreed to let me use his business address. Mail. Documents. Whatever I needed. Next came the camera. Months ago, when I still thought the worst thing that could happen was a break-in, I installed a few motion-activated cameras. One of them was tucked inside a fake air freshener on the bookshelf of her idea, ironically. Now, I used it to collect footage. Not of her with Rory. They were careful about that. But of her lying. Smiling at me like I didn't know. Whispering into the phone, eyes darting toward the hallway. Deleting texts, then looking guilty for 2 seconds before flipping back into indifference. She thought she was subtle. She wasn't. That night, she came home with takeout. Thai. My favorite. Probably because I'd been distant, and she needed to keep me pacified just long enough to say her goodbyes without drama. She handed me the bag with a smile. Figured we could do dinner and a movie tonight? Like old times. I looked at her, really looked, and saw the effort. The performance. The pretend domesticity layered over 100 little betrayals. Sure, I said. Sounds great. We ate in silence. Halfway through the movie, she fell asleep with her head on my shoulder. I sat there, still as stone, letting the weight of her lies press into me one last time. At 2 a.m., I moved. Grabbed the last of my things. The hard drive. The backup phone. The list. I left a single envelope on the table. Inside, a printed photo of her and Rory, laughing, happy, free. No note. Just the truth. I didn't slam the door. I didn't leave a message. I didn't pack like a man escaping. I packed like someone who knew he wasn't coming back. And I didn't go to a motel. I went to Bruce's place. He handed me a beer and didn't ask questions. We sat on his porch, watching the moon rise behind the tree lean, and for the first time in months, I felt still. Not healed. Not whole. Just still. And still was good enough for now. She'd wake up in the morning to a quiet house. No slippers by the door. No folded laundry. No second toothbrush. She'd call me. Maybe text. Maybe cry. Maybe curse. But what she wouldn't get. An answer. Not this time. Because when someone cheats and still expects you to stay, what they're really asking is for you to help them forget what they did. And I wasn't going to be her amnesia. Not anymore. The first 3 days were the loudest. Not because of calls or texts, those didn't come right away. No, it was the silence. That crushing, cavernous kind of silence that fills a space where you used to be. It echoed in everything. In the way my coffee didn't need 2 mugs. In the empty passenger seat of my truck. In my phone staying quiet all day, except for spam calls and 2-factor authentication pings. I spent those days at Bruce's. Ate his cereal. Slept on his lumpy guest futon. Watched him fail to beat level 263 of some mobile game while pretending not to look over at me every 5 minutes like I was going to spontaneously combust. Want to talk about it? He asked once, mid-crunch. Nope, I said, sipping burnt coffee. He nodded. Cool. By day 4, the storm finally hit. My phone lit up with a string of calls from Tessa. No messages at first, just missed call after missed call like she was trying to unlock me through sheer persistence. I didn't answer. Call number 8 came in at 2:17 a.m. I stared at the screen until it went dark, then rolled over. By the next morning, she'd found her voice. Text 1. Where are you? Please. I'm scared. Text 2. If this is about the party. I can explain. It's not what you think. Text 3. Okay, maybe it is. But you don't just vanish like this. Text 4. You're acting crazy. That one made me laugh. Not the humor kind. The dry, sandpaper kind. The kind that scratches something inside you because she thought this was crazy, not kissing another man, not booking hotels under her maiden name, not telling Rory she'd said yes before we'd even said goodbye. No, it was me, not responding fast enough. That was crazy. I muted her number. Then came the voicemail. Elle, if you're listening to this, just call me back. Please. I didn't mean for things to get like this. I thought we were just going through a rough patch. You were so distant. I didn't know how to reach you anymore. Rory, he's not, look, it's complicated. You left without a word. Who does that? She paused. I could hear her breathing, shaky, like guilt trying to put on a brave face. Call me. We can fix this. We always fix things. She ended with a choked-off breath that wanted to be a sob but didn't commit. I didn't respond. Because what was there to fix? You don't fix betrayal. You either forgive it or burn it to the ground. And I wasn't interested in rebuilding a house with ash for bricks. 2 days later, she sent a picture. It was the necklace. The one I didn't give her. Dangling in her palm, captioned. I took it off. I stared at it for a long time. Thought about the effort that took. Not the taking off, but the staging. The hand placement. The lighting. The caption. The calculation. She wanted points for effort. For tossing water on a fire after the entire forest had already burned. She wanted a reaction. So I gave her one. I posted the photo Bruce took of me the day I moved into his place. Nothing dramatic, just me, standing on the porch with a duffel bag and a coffee cup. My wedding ring, removed. My smile? Subtle. Not victorious. Not bitter. Just done. Caption, starting over. Day 1. I didn't tag her. I didn't mention her. I didn't have to. The likes rolled in. So did the comments. Whatever it was, good for you. Clean slate energy. You look lighter. And then, silence. Tessa didn't respond. Not publicly. But 2 days later, a mutual friend messaged me. Hey, just saw your post. Tessa's, well? She's not taking it well. I didn't answer. Not out of spite. I just didn't have the energy to manage other people's reactions to a life they only saw in filtered snapshots. Because here's what nobody tells you. Leaving hurts even when it's the right thing. Even when you have every receipt, every screenshot, every reason carved in stone. You still wake up wondering if she'll call, if she'll show up, if she'll finally say the thing that makes it make sense. She never did. But Rory did. I got an email. No subject line. Just 2 sentences. She told me she was divorced. I didn't know. I'm sorry. I read it twice. Then I archived it. Because I wasn't going to play the grief counselor for the man who held my wife like I didn't exist. That weekend, I drove to the lake. It was a place we used to go. Back before the rot. Back before every conversation felt like an interview, and her smiles came with terms and conditions. I sat on the hood of my truck, watched the sun sink behind the water, and felt nothing. Not rage. Not heartbreak. Just the kind of nothing that means the worst is over. The storm has passed. The damage is done. And now you just rebuild, plank by plank, breath by breath. I stayed there until the stars came out. Then I did something I hadn't done in months. I slept. And this time, I didn't dream of her. You know what no one warns you about when your life collapses? The logistics. It's not just grief and betrayal and replaying conversations with phantom hindsight. It's passwords, bank accounts, your name on the lease, the dog's vet records, your Spotify algorithm that still recommends love songs you shared over takeout Thai and cheap wine. Tessa texted again that morning. We need to talk. I don't want it to end like this. I didn't answer. Not because I didn't have things to say, but because I had already said them in silence. When you leave without slamming the door, it echoes longer. Instead, I logged into the cloud storage we shared and started deleting my side of everything. Shared folders, gone. Joint playlists, wiped. The folder labeled Vaki 18, where her laughter echoed in every boomerang clip, gone. It wasn't revenge. It was cleanup. Like bleaching a crime scene before selling the house. I paused over one file. Anniversary_dinner_plans.docs. She'd made it 3 years ago. Color-coded dinner ideas. Restaurant links. A note that read, "No sushi, I'll get a rash." Remember, it was small. Stupid, even. But it hit. Because I couldn't remember the last time she asked how my day was. But once she remembered the allergy I only ever mentioned once while scratching my neck. That was the real betrayal, wasn't it? Not the hotel rooms. Not Rory's cologne on her collar. Not even the "she said yes" headline that made me feel like a ghost with a social security number. It was the fact that she used to care. Really care. Now, I was just in the way. Bruce found me that afternoon sitting on the porch again. Same hoodie. Same blank stare. "You look like a guy who just watched his house burn down and is trying to decide whether to roast a marshmallow or cry," he said, handing me a beer. "I might do both," I muttered. He sat. Didn't say anything for a while. Bruce was good at that, filling silence without using words. Eventually, he asked, "You gonna tell her you know about Rory?" "She knows I know," I said. "How?" I turned to him. "Because she hasn't denied it." That was the thing about guilt. It was loud in its silence. The texts, the calls, the sudden interest in what I was feeling, all coming weeks too late. She'd already picked her ending. She just didn't expect me to write mine first. That evening, she left me a voicemail. Her voice was different. Softer. Less polished. "Elle, I know you probably hate me. I wouldn't blame you. I didn't mean for things to fall apart like this. I was lonely. I felt invisible. Rory just noticed me." She laughed, but not the good kind. The brittle kind, like glass under pressure. "I didn't plan to leave you. Not really. I just wanted to feel something. But then you left first. And now I'm just sitting in our house with your chair gone and your side of the closet empty, and it's like the air changed." Pause. Long breath. "I don't know who I am without you hating me right now. But I don't think I'm okay with that either." Click. No apology. No ownership. Just confusion wrapped in sentimentality. The kind of guilt that still expected comfort from the person it crushed. I played it twice. Then I did something I hadn't done since college. I went for a run. Didn't plan it. Just pulled on sneakers, stepped outside, and ran until my lungs burned. Past the gas station. Past the closed diner. Through a park where couples walked hand in hand, clueless. By the time I made it back, I could barely breathe. But for the first time in months, my mind was quiet. I collapsed on Bruce's porch steps and looked up at the sky. 1 star. Faint. Probably a plane. Didn't matter. Still looked better than anything I'd seen on my phone in days. Inside, I found the letter. Bruce had placed it on the counter like it was any old envelope. But I knew the handwriting. Tessa's. The return address was ours. Or hers now, I guessed. I opened it. Inside was a single piece of stationery. Her handwriting, neat, dramatic loops like she practiced it in high school. "Elle, I won't make excuses. I don't deserve forgiveness. But I didn't expect you to disappear. I thought you'd yell. Throw something. Maybe cry. You just left. It was like dying in slow motion. I don't even know who Rory is now. All I can think about is you. I know I broke it. But if you ever wanted to talk, even just to scream at me, I'll listen. You were always the only one who really saw me. T. It was a lot. Too little? Too late? Probably. But honest? Maybe. I folded the letter once, set it in the trash, then changed my mind. Took it out. Slipped it into the bottom drawer of Bruce's desk, under an old pack of printer paper and a tangle of spare cords. I didn't want it. But I didn't want to pretend it didn't exist, either. Because that's what healing really is, not forgetting, not forgiving, just refusing to bleed from the same wound twice. The envelope was cream-colored. Heavy. Expensive. You don't send bills or guilt letters in something that nice. Bruce found it in the mailbox and tossed it onto the table like it was a pizza flyer. Another one? He asked without looking. I nodded, not because I knew what it was, but because I was getting used to life's cruel timing. I didn't open it right away. I let it sit. Like a dare. That evening, I finally peeled back the seal. Inside was a card with embossed lettering, fancy cursive that looked like it belonged on a wedding registry, not in the ruins of mine. You're invited to celebrate the engagement of Tessa Marie Whitlock and Rory James Calder. Date, time, venue, dress code. Every detail as polished as a PR announcement. The kind of thing you send when you've convinced yourself that public perception matters more than private shame. And I was on the guest list. Not directly, of course. But someone wanted me to know. Either she sent it out of obligation or cruelty. And Tessa was many things, but careless? No. Every move she made was premeditated, dressed in perfume and plausible deniability. I stared at the card. Then I laughed. The sound startled Bruce, who was microwaving something that smelled like regret and instant noodles. What? He asked, mid-chew. She invited me to her engagement party, I said, waving the card like a magic trick. He stopped chewing. Please tell me you're not going. I don't know yet, I said, setting the invitation down gently. You shouldn't even be thinking about it. I know. He paused. But you're thinking about it. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. He shook his head and walked away, muttering something about emotional suicide and exes with event planners. That night, I sat with the invitation in my lap and let the idea rot in my mind like a splinter I wasn't ready to pull. And then I started planning. Not to show up and scream. Not to throw a drink or ruin her perfect photo ops. But something quieter. Sharper. Something she wouldn't see coming. I spent the next few days putting together a different kind of guest list. Not people, but truths. A collection. A gallery, if you will. I printed every photo. Every hotel receipt. Every text she forgot to delete from the cloud. I pulled voice memos from the synced devices she never thought I'd check. I stitched together a timeline of her betrayal so complete it would make a forensic accountant blush. I called it the exhibit. And I wasn't going to display it in public. No, that would have been too dramatic. Too much like a man trying to make a scene. I wanted precision, not volume. So I found a different address. Rory's parents. Found them through a property lookup site. Old house in a quiet neighborhood. The kind with wind chimes, porch swings, and the belief that their son was marrying a nice woman from a good family. I put everything in a manila folder. Labeled it for your peace of mind. No anger. No accusations. Just evidence. Then I mailed it. Certified. Signature required. 2 days later, I got the delivery confirmation. 1 day after that, the phone rang. Private number. I let it go to voicemail. It was Rory. His voice was tight. Controlled. I don't know what you think this accomplishes. But I get it. I do. Just, don't contact my family again. Click. He didn't deny it. He didn't defend her. He just didn't want the mess leaking into his world. And that? That told me everything I needed to know. The party was 3 days away. I still hadn't RSVP'd. But Tessa sent a text anyway. I hope you'll come. It would mean a lot. I didn't respond. Because she didn't mean it. Not really. What she meant was, I hope you stay silent. I hope you show everyone you're still the nice guy, the one who won't make waves. She still thought I was the same man who once folded her laundry without being asked, who apologized first, who forgave easily. She didn't realize I'd traded in forgiveness for facts. That night, I sat down and wrote a letter. Not for her. Not for me. For the man I used to be. Dear Elle, the old one. You tried. God, you tried. You gave everything quietly. You trusted too long. You loved too well. She didn't deserve the version of you who still believed in her potential. But I do. So I'm not going to destroy her. I'm going to outgrow her. Loudly. Unapologetically. Because she already buried your kindness under secrecy. It's time we stop digging. We're done here. Elle, the upgraded one. I didn't mail it. I folded it, placed it in my wallet, and felt something shift in my chest. A pressure release. I wasn't going to that party. I didn't need to. The invitation wasn't for me, it was for her reflection. She wanted to feel righteous. Wanted her new life to look seamless. But I'd already broken the mirror. She just didn't know she was dancing on glass yet. The engagement party went on without me. I know because mutuals posted about it. Instagram reels, filtered to perfection, twinkle lights, flute glasses clinking, and a slow-motion hug between Tessa and Rory, as if betrayal was just a chapter they'd both outgrown. But what the camera didn't show: the tension behind Rory's eyes, his smile a little too tight, his parents leaving early. I didn't need to be there. The truth had RSVP'd for me. That weekend, I got a message from someone I hadn't heard from in a while. One of Tessa's old college friends, Annika. We'd spoken maybe 4 times in person. She messaged me, "You were always too good for her. Just so you know, people are starting to see it now." I didn't ask what that meant. I didn't need to. Tessa's version of reality was unraveling in real time, and the best part? I wasn't even touching the thread. I started reclaiming parts of myself. Went back to my gym. The one she always teased me for joining. "You're just going to spend money to sweat," she'd said once. Yes, Tessa. That's how effort works. Started cooking again, too. Made the dishes I liked, the spicy ones she always watered down. My Spotify Wrapped started looking like mine again. No more duets or love ballads that meant something 2 anniversaries ago. I stopped checking my phone, because by now, she'd stopped trying. It came 2 weeks later. Another letter. Handwritten. No envelope this time. Just folded paper slid into the mailbox like she couldn't even bring herself to knock. The handwriting was rushed. No flourishes. Just this: "I made a mistake. Not just with Rory. With all of it. I thought you'd be the one to fight for us, but when you didn't, I realized I never gave you a reason to. I don't blame you, but I miss you. That has to count for something." It didn't. Because what she missed wasn't me. She missed being missed. That letter went in the same drawer as the first one. I didn't tear it. Didn't burn it. I just filed it under unsentimental evidence. And that was that. The final chapter closed. Until I got the call. From Rory. Voice thin, strained. "We're done," he said. I figured. She lied to me. Kept lying. After everything. "I just thought you should know. You didn't have to call." "I did," he said. "Because I get it now. What it feels like to be in love with a ghost." Click. I sat in silence for a while. Then smiled. Not because he got hurt, but because the truth always cashes its checks. I saw her one more time. At the grocery store, of all places. Same cereal aisle where we once argued about sugar content and heart health. She spotted me first. Froze. Clutching a basket of overpriced greens and almond milk like it could shield her from recognition. I nodded once. Not cold. Not warm. Just acknowledgement. She took a tentative step. Hey, have you been?" she asked, like we were old coworkers who used to share a cubicle instead of vows. "Better," I said. And I meant it. She looked like she had 100 things she wanted to say. But she settled on one. "You really left." "I really did." Another pause. She bit her lip. I never expected silence. That's why it worked. She smiled, barely. "I hope you find someone who sees you." "I already did," I said. Me. That one hit her. I saw it. Like a clock stopping in her chest. I walked away before she could reply. Didn't look back. Because healing isn't about proving you're fine. It's about finally not needing to.